Well, hello there, Dungeon Masters. In this video, we make a Pantheon, or Great Temple. The idea for this map is to create a large building, which would be in a city, where travellers can congregate to pray to their god, gods, or deity. We'll go through some examples on how to use this map a bit later in the video, as normal. The temple has 6 individual areas that can be used for each religion or god, depending on what you choose for your own campaign. But it also has one large area in the centre, which would be open for anyone to come to pray. This could be to a number of gods that might not have their own individual room. It could simply be for those seeking shelter, rest, or even looking for healing. Maybe even for those unsure of their character's path to come and reflect. Now we have the building structure completed. We can start to add in all the items to the rooms to make them unique. We start off with a reddish colour flooring. The idea is that it could symbolise the player's path. As they enter the temple, they are already on their chosen path with faith or religion. From there, they can follow the individual paths to the room of their desired deity, or simply remain in the main room. Whilst you don't have to have the floor symbolise or mean anything in your own game, it could simply be a different coloured flooring that was used to make it look pretty. We always like to add in those extra little bits of detail, so that you as a DM can choose to either use it or simply discard it. It's things like this that might give you a little bit more inspiration in your own game. It might help come up with even more ideas to help engage your players with the roleplay. We add in items to the main room that can then be moved into the different rooms. We also have bell towers to signal the times for communal prayers, or simply to alert people to the time. We then get down into the rooms themselves and begin to flesh them out. Whilst I will let you know what we would use the rooms for, you can always change them if they don't fit with your own campaign or game. This room would be for the god or gods of death. In D&D, it could be Neural, god of death and darkness, or Weejaz, goddess of magic, death and law. We have shelves on the side with skulls on, including those of different creatures. The jars could be used like canopic jars in sacrifices, or could be relics found through the ages. In our own campaign, we've created a list of our own main deities, with then a list of the demigods, for example, the god of sun, death, love, time, and even magic, harvest, or darkness. This room could be dedicated to the gods of the tavern, or maybe food and drink. In Greek mythology, it could be Demeter, goddess of the harvest. Grain is taken to make the ale and food, and grain definitely needs to be harvested. In D&D, it might be Moradin, god of the dwarves, as they certainly like their ale. The room with the large geode is a bit of a cheeky room. However, we'll come back to this in a little bit with more details. We turn this room into a nature room. This could be dedicated to Alona, the D&D goddess of forests, woodlands, flora and fauna. We try to fill the room with natural materials. Stones are placed which can be sat upon. Wildflowers cover the floor, including vines travelling up the walls. These would be tended to and kept healthy all over. We start to put in normal beds, but then change these to be more natural floor beds to keep with the theme. We add in bookcases for those wishing to study. These could be nature books on plants or medical potions. Now the cheeky geode room. The idea is to have this dedicated to the deity of love, passion and beauty. You might choose the deity Kiltsi, whose favoured form of devotion was performed privately between two lovers. The pews face each other so people can look into each other's eyes. The lights being reflected off the geode would bathe the room in beautiful light. We place rugs on the floor and top them up with some pillows for those wary travellers either wanting to sleep or show their devotion. The priest has a mirror in front of them so they can watch the beauty of their own sermon. We go back to the room for food and drink, or harvest. Cups and tankards are placed on top of the bar. Similar to communion, ale and wine would be abundant here. Not like a true bar where people would come to get drunk. However, enjoyment and socialising would be a big thing here, while sat around the tables. The lectern is placed behind the bar for the priest/barkeep to give sermons from. I have a feeling I know which room most people will pick if given a choice here. We keep this room quite simple, so that it can be used for different kinds of deities. We select both light and dark statues, which could symbolise the yin and yang, or light and dark. You might pick the god of balance for this room. The far back room we turn into an area where people can sleep. The wooden structures are enclosed beds. It might be that the priests stationed here at the temple sleep here, whilst not attending to those visiting. But instead, you might decide to have them sleep in their own deity room. These beds might be for the travelling folk who have come to seek refuge and a place to stay, a clean bed and a change of clothes to help them on their way. There's a number of shelves and drawers. These could hold the spare clothing and items donated to the temple. They could also hold books and other reading material like scrolls or pages with religious text on. They might have information about all of the gods in the Pantheon. It could be a small library sat at the back for those to further their education or seek answers. Even the priests might use this for their own studies. There's even a wash basin to clean from too. A number of pews are added to the main area of the temple. They are spread out enough for people to get through and walk to the individual areas if required. You might choose to have sermons be provided here each day or week so that the players have an option to join them. But the real question is, how could you use this map in your own campaign? Well, I am glad you asked me that, lovely Dungeon Master, as I'm about to give you a few examples you could use. Is there someone in your player party who is on a religious path? Maybe the group's paladin has had visions, or even seen signs like a shooting star in the early morning. What could that possibly mean for someone of the sun god's faith? Maybe they choose to find out more about the history of these signs, so have come here to discuss this with the other priests. There might be some religious text to help guide them further, or at least give them an idea about what it could mean. Maybe a member of the party has been having visions whilst asleep. Could it have something to do with the deity that they are already following? Maybe a deity has chosen an individual to carry out work on their behalf, and they have chosen one of the party members. Obviously, please make sure the player character is happy with this if you do go down this path. You want them to enjoy the story, not be made uncomfortable about it. Has the temple been taken over by a great evil? Instead of a welcoming place for all of those to come and take shelter and pray, has something arrived and is starting to control everyone? Maybe those inside are being held hostage and need brave adventurers to come and save the day. Could there be a Pantheon power play in progress? Has one of the areas started taking more coin, or limiting what the others receive in donations? Are they slowly encroaching on other areas, taking control of more of the Pantheon? We'll take a wander through the map, so you can get an up-close view similar to what the characters would see. But don't worry, we still have a few minutes of the video left, and I have more suggestions for you. Maybe one day whilst a priest was studying, they come across a unique text. They don't recall seeing it previously. This text looks interesting, and a real page-turner. Slowly the priest becomes susceptible to it. It might turn out to be some dark scriptures, or that of a nefarious intent. Does that one naive young priest become possessed themselves? A complete personality change as they start saying and doing things out of character. And that's why the players have been asked to come to investigate further. Maybe late at night travellers go missing. Will the players find out the priest has been performing sacrifices? Maybe instead of an individual being possessed, with each person who reads the text, it acts like a power boost. If enough people read it or mutter words aloud, they not only become more susceptible to the writing, they slowly start turning into mindless slaves or zombies. It's almost as if their own life force is being depleted from them and taken for something else. When it gets enough power, something is brought forth that is much more sinister than simple words. Can the players get there in time to stop it from arriving? Can the players fight this nefarious creature and save the unfortunate NPCs? Or will the many travellers seeking sanctuary be lost to the dark side forever? So there we have different ways you could use this map. Hopefully this video has given you inspiration not only on how to use the map, but ideas that you could use in your own game. If you have enjoyed the video, please do hit that like button so it gives me a warm fuzzy feeling. If you want access to use this map and all the other maps that we've created too, we've made these available to all of our Patreon supporters. A big thank you to all of you for all of your support. We really do appreciate it. So until next time, may the dice be ever in your favour.